Hey, I'm Scottie, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to sketch cars in your urban sketches. Firstly, we'll go through the theory of perspective, and then I'll show you step by step how to sketch this reference. So now I'll move on to theory and we'll talk about perspectives. So in general, how do we add objects to a scene with a building? Well, let's start by looking at this basic shape of a building here in two-point perspective. So now what if we add something to the side of this building? It could be a crate on the side, or a set of stairs, or even a car park next to the building. And because it is on the same ground plane and it's parallel to the building, those perspective lines go to the same vanishing points as the building. And you can even move that object away from the building. It doesn't have to be right on it, and it still has the same vanishing points because it's parallel to the building and it's on the same ground plane. So how do we apply this? The basic theory of perspective, how do we apply it and use it best when we're sketching? The first step is to find the eye line. Looking down the sketch from the top to bottom, and you see all the horizontal lines where they go flat. About where the heads are, that's where all the horizontal lines are flat. And then when I look at a car like this, I think about it in a box. And that's because I want to see where the angles are for the wheels. And now we've got to match that box to the scene. So now I'm looking at all the angles that are aiming towards the left, where the vanishing point would be way off the page. We can see the closer they are to the eye line, the flatter they are. They gradually get more and more angled. To the very top of the building there, that's the most angled. Now if we mix those order of those things up, then it would look like it's not in the same scene. And it's the same for all the lines on the right. So we don't need to actually literally draw two vanishing points on either side. Consider the eye line where the horizontal lines are the flattest, and they increase in angle as they go away, but those angles of the car have to match the angles of the building. Okay, now we're going to go into the sketch, and I'll show you step by step how to do this. So the first thing to do is to put an eye line. So draw it with pencil across the page. Now let's draw this car. So I like to draw the box around the car to show the perspective first. So let's put a dot just above the eye line, below the eye line here, and that's the bottom of the corner of the car. And then we'll look at the front face of the car, and it's there. We come straight up and draw the other dot there. Then we can put the left hand side where we get that width, that same width, but a little bit more. Put another dot, but then we have a much steeper angle here. So you can see there on the reference, that's the sort of box I'm looking at. So let's start building that silhouette. Let's draw that back edge of the car. So it's just all very rough here, coming down, coming up there. It's across like that, across like this. It's a little angle there, great curve. Angle for the windshield, down. So we've got the outline of the shape. The next biggest shapes we have here is the windshield. So connect those two, lines like this. So then we continue this across like that. The side mirror there. With wheels, we want them to be ellipses in perspective. We look at the axle, and the ellipses should be perpendicular to the axle. Let's draw an ellipse in the back. A hint of a wheel there for the hubcap. We'll just adjust them. Draw that. Nice feature. Following the same angles here pretty much. Across. Now making our way through the details here. This line here, these are the split lines now. And then right between the wheels. Now we need to start doing the main shapes of these buildings and fit them into the perspective we have of the car. The best way we can do that is find this line here with the curb, so we need to add less angle on that line. It means it will look like it's in the same scene. The awning on the top, really nice steep angle there. Thickness of the awning. So let's do that. Following the angle even more steeper than this one. Just the gaps between the pillars. Follows that angle down and then draw straight down. And then the next arch. That gives you a lot of depth within this reference, this sketch. We know the eye line is there, and that's where the person was standing. So all the heads will be lined up along there. Silhouetted there in the background. And then after the head you draw the torso. So the legs, they taper down. You can add little triangles for feet. I'm kind of making this person up. Now we're coming to the light. Make these a nice feature of this sketch. Like a one line impression of what you see. Outline that shape. Crazy metalwork, and it goes up. Straight down. Outline those shapes. Now the roof still needs some lines. So these lines are quite tricky because as you go it's easy to twist them. Then just readjust your next line. Then the text on the front of the awning. Very thin impressions of the letters. So I'm using my round 12 brush just so that I can get some big broad strokes on this sketch because I want it to be very loose. Cadmium yellow, just stick that in there around. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the lines. Payne's grey, and bring it across. This will be darker here. White gap between the two. Burnt sienna, Just a broad stroke there. There's a lot of yellow ochre in there, and then put in some of the Payne's grey. So very impressionistic strokes there. Come across like this. Just hints that there's something there. So this is where this complicated scene, simplify it by adding impressionistic strokes. Payne's grey, and go down here. The side mirrors, so put a stroke through there. That. With the clothing, they look very boring, don't they? So let's add some vibrant colours there. And so this lady here is going to be wearing a pink jacket. Look a lot better. Orange, so make a really vibrant, beautiful orange. So put them in here. Now I've got my round 10, and we'll use Viridian green, and then I'll add in some Payne's grey, more focused on the right hand side. Something there, just impressionistic across that. So come across. Let's paint an ultramarine jacket. Quite dark at the bottom there. Now shadows, and I have my round 12 brush again. So let's use Purple Lake, but we're also going to have our ultramarine to blend into the shadows. Put a bit of shadow around the wheels, across to that wheel, the other wheel. There might be a little bit of a darker area here underneath the awning. Just add a little bit of shadow. So we have ultramarine, darker shadows there. We can get cadmium yellow, sort of mix it where that orange was, like that. You can add behind the wheel, there's a bit there. So that's a watercolor. Now I'm going to add a little bit of highlights here with my Uniball Signo white pen. White to some of the letters, just part of the letters. So I'm still seeing the black. That worked well actually. Like that, yeah, that's good. Impressionistic, really. And then you see down here, there's some reflections. And that's my final result and how I sketch a car in an urban sketching scene. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. If you want the full version without the cuts, you can find that over on my Patreon page, where I have the reference and the templates, and I go through a bit more explanation there, so it's quite a long tutorial. And you can also join the community there and post your sketches and encourage each other. They're a very warm and friendly community. Love to have you there. Otherwise, there's another tutorial right here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.